Hey, and welcome! Today, we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and powerful parts of our minds, a hidden force that honestly influences everything we do, even when we have no idea it's happening. We are talking about the shadow.
But what if that hidden force isn't just some enemy lurking in the dark? What if it also holds the key to your greatest strength? Yeah, that's the paradox we're going to try and unravel today.
Okay, so let's get right into it. To really get a handle on the shadow, first, we've got to talk about the social mask that we all wear every single day. So on one hand, you've got what's called the persona. This is the version of ourselves we put out there for the world to see, right? It's our polite, professional, I've got it all together self. But here's the thing. Every time we decide a part of us isn't good enough for that mask, maybe it's our anger, our jealousy, or even our wild creative side, we shove it down into the darkness. And that darkness, that's the shadow. A really good way to think about it is like this heavy bag that you've been dragging along since you were a kid. You know, when a parent said, "Don't be so loud," a piece of your joy went into the bag. A teacher said, "Don't get angry," and your aggression went in. Over the years, that bag just gets heavier and heavier. And honestly, most of the time we forget what we even packed in there in the first place.
And here's the really wild part. The more someone tries to be perfectly good or nice, the more stuff they have to suppress. A person who is just never, ever angry, they're not some kind of saint. No, their rage is just simmering away in that bag, and it usually leaks out in other ways, like sarcasm or passive aggression. So the brighter that mask shines, the darker and more powerful the shadow becomes.
So if the shadow is unconscious, totally hidden from us, how in the world do we ever find it? Well, it turns out it has a very, very clever way of showing itself to us. But here's the twist. It's not by looking inward.
The answer is actually pretty simple, but it does require some uncomfortable honesty. You don't find it by looking inside yourself. You find it by looking at what drives you absolutely crazy in other people.
Carl Jung, the psychiatrist who came up with this whole concept, basically gave us the master key with this one quote. You know those intense, almost irrational reactions we have to other people? They aren't just about them. They are a giant flashing neon sign pointing directly at our own hidden self.
There's a name for this. It's called projection. It's something our brain does automatically. When we see a trait in someone else that we have completely denied in ourselves, we have this big, powerful, negative emotional reaction. That person literally becomes a mirror for the part of ourselves we refuse to look at.
Let's use a classic example. Let's say you pride yourself on being super hardworking, really disciplined, and you feel this intense, just gut-level rage when you see someone you think is lazy. And there it is. That's the mechanism in action. Your crazy strong reaction isn't just about them. It's a huge clue that your own shadow is holding your deep repressed need to just rest, to let go, to be unproductive for a bit. They are living out a part of you that you've locked away in that bag, and seeing it just infuriates you.
So what happens if we just keep ignoring all this? If we keep pointing the finger at other people and pretending it has nothing to do with us? Well, the consequences can be pretty severe.
An ignored shadow doesn't just pack its bags and leave. It gets stronger, and its effects can be serious. It can lead to self-sabotage, tripping you up right when you're about to succeed. It's the real source of those sudden, explosive blow-ups over something tiny. That's years of repressed anger just bursting out. It can even show up as passive aggression. And ultimately, the sheer amount of energy it takes to keep this part of you locked down can lead to chronic anxiety and depression. It is absolutely exhausting to hide from yourself.
But here, and this is where this whole idea gets truly fascinating, the shadow isn't just a monster. It's not only filled with your anger and jealousy, it also contains some of your most brilliant, powerful, and positive qualities.
This is what's called the golden shadow. See, we don't just suppress what we think is bad about us. We often suppress what we're afraid is too good for us. Maybe as a kid, you were told not to be a show-off, so you packed away your confidence right into that bag. Or maybe you were afraid of your own power, so you locked away your potential to be a leader.
So how does this golden shadow show up? Well, the exact same way as the dark shadow, through projection. But instead of intense irritation, it shows up as intense admiration, maybe even idolization.
And this right here is the key takeaway. When you find yourself just completely obsessed with a hero or an artist or a leader, pay really close attention to the exact qualities you admire in them. Their courage, their creativity, their confidence. That is your own golden shadow being mirrored right back at you. It's your own unclaimed greatness just waiting for you to take it back.
Okay, so this is all fascinating stuff, but how do we actually do something about it? Well, there's a practical 3-step process we can use to start bringing these hidden parts of ourselves back into the light.
First, you face it. Think of someone who really gets under your skin and describe them. He is so arrogant. Then, you talk to it. In your head, have a little chat with them. Ask them, why are you so arrogant? And finally, and this is the hardest but most powerful step, you be it. You actually try on the trait. You say the words out loud. I am arrogant. Now, the goal is not to become an arrogant person. The goal is to feel the energy behind that trait. By doing this, you're taking back the power you gave away. You're not adopting the bad behavior. You're reclaiming the core energy, which, in the case of arrogance, might just be the healthy self-confidence you've been missing all along.
So why go through all this uncomfortable work? Facing our triggers, admitting we have these things inside of us. I mean, what's the ultimate goal here? What's the real prize?
This right here gets to the absolute heart of it. Shadow work isn't about becoming a perfectly good person. A good person is often a fragile one because they've had to cut off half of themselves to be that way. The real goal is to become a whole person, someone who has integrated all of their parts.
When you integrate your shadow, you become more resilient. You're not so easily triggered by other people because you see yourself in them. You are capable of aggression, sure, but you choose peace. You have access to your anger, but now you can use it as fuel to set boundaries instead of letting it explode. You become powerful, authentic, and truly, truly self-aware.
And we'll just end with Jung's own words. This journey isn't about achieving some kind of moral perfection. It's about achieving self-acceptance in the deepest way possible, embracing every single part of who you are, the light and the dark, to finally become whole.